Hello, Fiona Whitten from Oakville Crafts here, and welcome to my last virtual card cuppa for 2022. So I will be back next year, don't worry, but in the meantime, as I said, this is the last card and cuppa for this year. Over the next few weeks, until the next card and the cuppa, which will be that's the 18th of January. I'll still be doing some stamping and creating on a Wednesday afternoon, so never fear, I will still be around. So this morning we had the last event over at the Home Grange in the cafe there. It caused a little bit of a stir later on because we were playing some games, but I think everybody had fun. So here we go. This is, as I said, the last one of the year. So these are the 3 cards that I took with me this morning as samples, and I'll share those in a bit more detail in a minute. In the meantime, I'll share with you the kit that everybody, I was going to say got sent in the post, but as many of you will know, here in the UK, we have a series of strikes going on at the moment, one of which is the postal workers. So, and the problem is that we can't guarantee when things are going to arrive. So I actually took the kits with me for those who are going to be attending and those who are actually watching either now or on catch up will have had their kits sent to them in the post. So this was the kit that we used this morning. I did ask people the last time we met, so that was last month, what they would like to do. I said, did they still want to do Christmas cards or did they want to do something else? And it was kind of a mixed reaction. Some wanted to still do Christmas cards, some still wanted to do something else. So I kind of went with some paper that I thought we could actually use for all sorts of occasions. So it's called Sun Prints. So I'm actually using Sun Prints paper, which you'll find in the annual catalogue, and I'm using it to make a general card and some Christmas cards too. So without further ado, the kit consists of envelope, as always, a base card, which is in grey granite. We have a piece of basic white, which is for the inside of the card. Now, I always put all the measurements for these up on YouTube. So when I post this to YouTube, which will probably happen tomorrow or Friday, certainly at the latest, all the measurements for this will be there. But if you're interested and quick enough to write them all down at the moment. So this is half an A4 sheet cut in half. So it's 14.9 by 21, and then you score it at 10.5 centimetres. The basic white is 14.4 by 10. So that gives you a little border all the way around. We then have a piece of basic white that has been die cut using the, I want to say the Scallop Contours Dies, but I'll correct myself in a minute when I look in the catalogue. So there's that piece which we're going to put on the top. Then this is the piece of the Sun Prints paper, and I went for this one because it's got a really sweet design on one side. So we have sorts of fronds and grasses here, but I also thought actually this is quite sweet as well because it's a starry sky, so it kind of reminded me of snow. Maybe it's a bit of artistic license, but hey, I thought it kind of reminded me of snow. So we went for that, or I went for that. And then there's a strip of the same paper again to decorate the inside. Piece of the Starry Sky metallic thread ribbon, which is nice because you can fray the ends. It's quite thin, you can make nice bows out of it. Being metallic, you do have to make sure that you do a pretty tight bow because it will ping apart. Then there were a selection of both basic white and grey granite ovals. So these are punched out from the 1 punch, so it's the double punch. So you have both a scallop and a smaller, just straightforward oval. So one will nest in the other. And I thought I would give them the choice, because then they can decide whether they want white on grey granite, or grey granite on white, or white on white, or grey granite on grey granite. You get the idea. It kind of just gives, there's like, what, one, two, three, four. I mean, I think there's 8 variations you can come up with. And then there are also in the kit some pearls. So they're the larger pearls and then the smaller ones. In the old packs of pearls, the very small ones came as a string. So these are all attached. There's adhesive behind those. So you just need to cut them, and then you can use them as individuals, or you could use them as a whole line of them. But now the pearls that come, you'll find them just as individuals. So that's the kit. I'll put this to one side so I don't lose it all. And these are the cards that I made. So this was my original. So this is my, as I call it, throw everything at it card. So everything that's in the kit has been used in one form or another. So we've got the grey granite base card. We have the basic white inside with the paper stuck on. And then I've simply glued the piece of the scalloped rectangle of the basic white. I wrapped a piece of the ribbon around the front. Now you only need to fix it. You don't need to tie it all the way around. So this is just a piece that's just long enough to catch on the underneath side with some tear tape. And then the rest I tied it in a knot and then tied a bow with it. And then I stamped thank you, which is from... Actually, it's from Inspired Thoughts. I like the font on that, but I didn't want this so much. So I just used a bit of washi tape to blank that off when before I inked it, and then took the washi tape off before I stamped it. Since then, I found another thank you I quite like, and I took all sorts of things with me this morning. So that was where my thank you came from. As I said, it's Inspired Thoughts. And that was stamped in Starry Sky. So it's Starry Sky with the ink and Starry Sky ribbon. Glued those two together and then just added it with some foam pads. And then I just added some very simple, just put the 3 larger pearls on. So that was that card. The second card, this was the first of the Christmas cards. So instead of using the paper that way up, I turned it over. So again, it's very simple. You've got the basic white scallop rectangle stuck on, put the paper on. Now, when you turn the paper over, you'll sometimes find that the edges raised because of the way the paper's been cut. And you just need to simply use your thumbnail or a bone folder and just simply just use that to flatten it. And then you'd never know. Or you would know because you've done that, but people you're sending the card to won't know. And then I stamped the Let It Snow from the Joyful Flurry stamp set. So this is the stamp set that I used. So I used the Let It Snow, and then I put on the inside, It's a Season of Magic and Wonder, which is one of the other sentiments from the stamp set. And again, simply just glued the strip of paper, but obviously the other side. And I thought this one, I only wanted 1 pearl. So anybody who wants to replicate this one will have some spare pearls, which is fine. And then I just simply tied a fairly large bow in the metallic ribbon, stuck that on with a glue dot. So that was that one. So the Joyful Flurry, if you're wondering, that comes from the current mini catalogue. So the July to December catalogue. So that's going out at on the 5th of January, 4th of January, 5th of January. So that's a get it while you can. And also, just so you're aware, there is free postage tomorrow, which is a great deal, so that saves you some money as well. And then the third card, and those of you who've watched these before know that I have a habit of cutting. Although I send out a kit with everything pre-cut, sometimes I actually take a trimmer with me, and I give them the option to cut some of the paper or the cardstock. So, which is precisely what I did here. So the inside, again, it's just the basic white and then the strip of paper. I stamped using the Starry Sky ink some of the snowflake images. So I used that one and that one. I also used this little one. So I stamped those. I didn't bother doing the bottom because I knew that the paper was going to cover that up. But I did actually stamp to sort of like the top 2/3. So you'll find that there is, but you can't see it, stamping underneath that. Because I wanted to also stamp off. I don't have a problem with it being stamped on the scallops. Some people may not like it, but it's a personal preference. So obviously if you don't like having ink on your scallop edges, then obviously you just need to make sure that you don't take it that far. You could always use some post-it notes or something to blank them off to make sure that you don't actually ink up there. So I mean, if I wanted to, I could have just put some post-it note on there and there, so my images would have sort of stopped there, but I would then had white scallops all the way over. And again, I simply I used some tear tape to fix the ends of the ribbon on the reverse side. This piece has been cut down. So it started off as I can even tell you, started off as a 10 by 7. So it's 10 by 7. So I turned it over from that to that, and then I chopped a piece off. So this is actually 8.5. So it's 10 by 8.5. No, it's not. It's 7 by 8.5. And then when you put the ribbon on, it kind of hides the join. Sometimes I don't mind the join showing, and sometimes I do. And I just kind of thought this was a neat way of hiding it. And then I simply stamped the Happy Christmas, again from the Joyful Flurry stamp set, in Starry Sky straight onto the grey granite scallop oval. So there's foam pads under there, and then I added 3 of the larger pearls. So I've got 2 in the larger snowflakes. I could have added some of the little ones onto the smaller snowflakes. And I put 1 on the sentiment, and I did actually on this one. I will go back and do it. So I also put a snowflake on my envelope. So that is the 3 cards that I took this morning. I actually thought that most people would go for thank yous, but I was wrong. I think the vast majority of people went with this card, and there were a few that went with this one or variations thereof. I take these as samples, but really at the end of the day, I'm not so precious about my cards that people can't change things out. If I have the supplies, then they can change things out. Obviously, I can't provide a stamp set if I don't have it with me. And the other trick that I wanted to point out to you is if you've punched out some of those ovals, and then you sort of panic and think, oh, I don't know if my sentiments are going to fit. Then first off, double check on your stamp set, because on the bottom here, if these images that are shown and it says like 85% or 90%, then you know those are smaller than what they actually are. If it doesn't say anything, then these are all at 100%. And then the trick is simply to, whatever shape that you've got, simply place it over the sentiment And then you can see, if you can't see any of it, then you know basically it will fit onto that shape. So Let It Snow fits quite nicely, as does Happy Christmas. Sending all the best this new year, that will fit. I'm not too sure how it would look, but it would fit. Obviously that would not fit because you're going to have your M and your R sticking out, and the Joyful Wishes will not fit either. It's kind of tight. I think it would look too squidged. Sometimes if you've got like a very dark ink, you can actually see through. But so that's just a trick that I've learnt from practice and realising that I've got to cut things out and then, oh, it's not going to fit. So that's a good way of checking before you actually commit your stamp and ink to the shape that you're going to be stamping on. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to bring back. So I've got my kit, got that as well. And then the big $64 million question, as always, is what am I going to do? So I thought, first off, I'm actually going to switch the card out and I'm going to make it a landscape card rather than a portrait card. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this paper in the middle, but I'm actually going to chop it down. So I need my trimmer, which I realise I've left the other side of the room. So just bear with me 2 seconds and I'll quickly dash and get it. And I'm back. Now this paper was cut so that it would leave already a nice border around it. So rather than having to measure it all out again, so long as I cut off the same amount from the top and one of the sides, then I know I should be good to go. So I'm going to use my trimmer. And I'm going to take off 1 centimetre. So I'm just going to line it up with the one that is on the right hand side. And I'm simply going to use the darker one is the cutting one. So I'm going to take off 1 centimetre from there. And I'm going to take off 1 centimetre from here. Like so. So I know that I've still got the same proportions when it comes to fitting it onto the white. So I could actually go a bit smaller because what I want is I want to have one of these in the middle. But actually that is quite a nice proportion for that. So I'm going to leave it like that. Now this is the piece that I'm going to stamp on, but before I stamp my sentiment, I actually want to stamp a snowflake. And I'm going to go, I want one that's basically going to cover most of it. So I'm going to go with, so there are various snowflakes, so I could go even bigger. I didn't actually get the largest one out of the stamp case because it's not one that we used. So I'm going to go with the larger one. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up, but before I stamp onto the bit that I want to put the sentiment on, I'm going to stamp off because I want a lighter variation of the same colour. So I'm going to inked up. I'm going to stamp off here like that, and then I'm just going to stamp again onto this. So it should be, and I don't even know, there we go, whether or not it's too busy. It might be a little bit too busy. Let's try it again, but this time I'm going to use the larger of the 2 ovals. Let's go that way. And let's see if I can fit a bit on there. And then maybe put that one on top. No, I think I like that. So that's going to get put on there. And the other thing that I am going to do is I've got my white that I know I've stamped on one side, but guess what? I've got the other side. So I'm going to stamp the Let It Snow on there. Oh, did I actually get that out? I don't think I did. So I'm just going to stamp that on that side. And those of you who've watched me before know it's kind of, sometimes these cards are a bit of trial and error. Sometimes they work, sometimes they need to tweak it a little bit. Now I know I've made a bit of a mess of this with my stamping because there was ink on the edge. But I'm actually going to fussy cut this out, so I'm not worried about that. If you want to make sure that there's nothing, you're not going to do this. First off, I would suggest you double check your stamp before you do actually, and make sure that there is no ink on the edge. And then the other trick is when you're stamping is to go straight down and straight up and not rock. Because sometimes the rocking will just mean that that edge touches where you don't want it to, and then that's obviously what I did. So let's go for this. And how you fussy cut is up to you. You might want to go close to the letters, you might want to wiggle around them, or you might just want to go straight. There's no right and wrong way of doing this. It's whatever you find is the easiest and gives you the look that you want. Obviously, the Let It, I think, I probably want to have that as a straight edge. And then the snow can be wiggle. And then again, whether you want to cut it as a square end or a wiggle end. I'm going to use that. So that is going to go over that. And then I need some dimensionals, which I did have in front of me. Now that I've done the last card and a cuppa for the year, I'm kind of going to go back now and just use all the glue and things up. And I love the dimensionals because you can just simply cut, especially the edging, you can cut strips that will fit thin sentiments rather than trying to cut up your dimensionals in half or whatever. Then just simply cut a strip off the side. That way at least you also know that you are using all of it. I've just dropped it on the floor. There we go. It was a bit of a klutz today, but it's just one of those days. There we go. So I hope all of you have finished your Christmas shopping and making your Christmas cards. I have to admit, I'm totally guilty and I haven't. But then that's me. I am, when it comes to Christmas, a bit of a leave it to the last minute, simply because I also have quite a few birthday presents to buy. My mother's is Christmas Eve and my daughter's is Christmas Day, so it's like double presents for them. I don't blame them. Everybody else gets 2 presents a year, so it would seem to be a bit unfair if they didn't. Now, I'm going to glue this piece on. I'm not even sure that at the moment if I'm going to go with the ribbon. So I'm just going to put that in the centre of my rectangle, my scalloped rectangle, like so. Let's see, that's about right. Like that. go. Now that is going to get put on. I'm going to glue that on. Am I going to put that on with dimensionals? I think I might put that on with dimensionals as well. So this card is going to be dimensionaled out. So this is one that's definitely not going to get put in the post. And I mean, talking of which, because I'm saying that we've got strikes and stuff here, postal strikes and things. Apparently, I didn't know this, but Monday gone was the last day for posting second class, and the 16th, no, the 15th, which is Friday. What's it we on now? No, we're on the 14th today. Well, basically, it must be Friday, because I think they're on strike tomorrow as well. Is the last day for posting first class as well. I only found that out this morning when someone actually said that, and it's like, oh my goodness, I haven't sent. Well, I have sent some, but I've not sent that many. So anyway, I'm whittering on. Yes, it's different. I like that. So that is going to go on here. I still don't know about the ribbon or the pearls. So let me think about those for a second whilst I'm doing this. So as I mentioned yesterday, tomorrow is free postage. So you save yourself £6.95 because that's the fixed flat rate postage for Stampin' Up goodies. Everything comes direct from Germany via using UPS. So we know it's not going to get stuck in the post, but of course customs is another matter. Although Stampin' Up have said that they cannot guarantee now that things will be delivered before Christmas, simply because they can't actually guarantee now that things will be shipped out before Christmas. Let's tie a bow and see what we think. Doesn't need to be a big bow. Starts off life as a big bow, but hey. And as I said with this, because it's metallic ribbon, you might want to make sure that it is firmly tied. Quite like that in the corner, but I don't have to. And then I need a glue dies preferred even to fix it. Now these are called mini glue dots, but they're still fairly large. But all you need to do is just sort of make them into a little ball in your fingers, between your fingers, and then just use it then to get onto your ribbon, onto your bow, and then just put that then onto your card. Like that. And then, believe it or not, I'm going to add even more dimensionals. What the heck? It's Christmas, but I'm not using minis this time. I'm going to use normal size ones. So I'm going all out. Might give this one to my mum. Although she's got an iPad and she's on Facebook, she doesn't tend to watch it, so I think I'll be safe to give her this one. Just bear with me a second whilst I take all these backings off. There we go. Make sure that's how I want it. And then we want to put that central on the card. I know that these, because Stampin' Up is an American company, sometimes the dies are basically sized for US sized cards, which are slightly different to ours. But I still like this because you can get basically top and bottom or side and side are the same, and then the other way. So although that and that is not the same, I still think it looks good like that. And I'm umming and ahhing about my pearls, so don't know about that. And then do I want to put some more paper on here, or do I want to stamp? Or heaven forbid, do both. I think I'm just going to put some paper on, so I'm just going to put that on and glue that in. Like so. And it's up to you whether you take the paper directly right down to the bottom or whether you leave a little gap. If you're at home and you've got some scrap, you could always mount it onto slightly different coloured card and then put it on just to give a nice contrast. And that can then go inside. So those who came to Card A Cuppa this morning went home with the new mini catalogue, which starts on the 5th of January. So they've got that, and they've also got the celebration catalogue. Both of those start on the 5th of January. There is only going to be one celebration event in 2023. Just so you know, and that will run from the 5th of January to the 28th of February. If you don't have a demonstrator and are not a demonstrator yourself and would like a copy of the catalogue, I will put links in the description on the YouTube video that you can just simply click on, or you can just send me an email and say, please could you let me have one of the latest catalogues, and obviously I will need your address as well, because a bit of a problem trying to send something if I don't know where it's going. Right, so that's that. Oh, and I was going to do the envelope, wasn't I? So before I actually use that, I am going to clean it. Or maybe I'll even use a different stamp which is still clean. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend using a stamp which has got ink all around the edges, so it's always good to clean it or use a different stamp, which is precisely what I'm going to do now, because I might have just realised that my stamp cleaner is the other side of the room again, and you really don't want to be going up and down and disappearing off every 5 minutes. So I am just simply going to stamp one snowflake there, and I think I might put one on the back here as well, just on here, like that. So that's that. And then I never did decide whether or not I was going to put some pearls on here, did I? Oh, look. Make sure this stays on with the glue dot. Probably need to push it down good and hard. That's it. That's not going to go anywhere now. That snow's goes up, so I just need to kind of move that a bit. And then do I want to put some pearls on? I think I might put some pearls down here, and I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool for that. So the Take Your Pick tool's got putty end, and then it's also got like a pokey tool and a spatula end, which you can take out, and then that interchanges with some other tools that come with it. And this can be taken off and replaced with a new putty as well, so it's quite good. And it just makes things a lot easier when it comes to adding things like pearls and rhinestones, and I'm just going to line 3 up, I think. And you just slide them off, because I've already got those that have been put on with dimensionals, so it's not actually adding any additional height. So that's it. That is my card. So that's the fourth card. So as I said, despite everything, and me asking questions last time as to whether or not they wanted Christmas or not, and getting mixed replies, I've ended up doing more Christmas cards than thank you cards. But hey, what the heck? I need them to send them out anyway. So that one and that one. So we have 4 cards. So those are the 3, 1, 2, 3 that I took with me, and then that's the 4th one here that I've made today. Any other news to share with you? I don't think so. I've mentioned Celebration and new catalogues. Current minis is ending day before Celebration, and the new mini comes on. Free shipping tomorrow. And other than that, I will see you in January for another a virtual card and a cuppa. But as I said, over the next few weeks, I will still be live on Wednesdays at 2:30. I'll just be doing my stamping and creating. So in the meantime, thank you for watching. Any questions, please let me know, and take care. Bye.